Now loading. Zero's Game Room.
Welcome to Zero's Game Room, where all things gaming takes place. Interviews, discussions, and the latest gaming news. So take a seat, get comfortable, adjust your headset, because it's game time. Here's your host, Zero.
Hey, welcome back to Zero's Game Room. My name is Onpread. Today we don't have Zero with us. I told him to get out of here because we have 2 seats that are filled in with 2 awesome developers from Zero Ranger. Their names are Antti and Ibrowski, and I have so many questions to ask them because this game is amazing. If you haven't got it yet, please do so because this game is just awesome. So, you guys, after 10 years of working on this project, what would you say is the hardest thing was to make about this game?
Starting with the hard questions. Antti, you want to take this one because I don't.
Well, it's really a really big question because finishing it was the hardest part. Because it really just started as a hobby without a
that's
plan.
Pretty much what I would have said.
Was there a couple times where you thought the game was going to be released and then you guys weren't happy with Zero Ranger, so you guys tried to push it down like, hey guys, maybe let's try to wait another year before we release it? And I think when you guys put 10 years into this project, I think that this game is really, really polished, so I assume that when you guys were working on this...
I wouldn't say the goalposts was never like within hand's reach. It was always like there are still so much stuff to do. It was like during the last year or so when we took some content cuts into consideration so that we could actually release the game.
I think it's about 6 months since Zero Ranger's out. Was there any pressure that's taken off you guys? Were you guys just like, finally this game's out already, now we can focus on, maintaining or working on a new project?
Totally.
Yeah, the last few months were pretty grueling, especially for Airpro, because he's the one who's responsible for all the coding and programming.
Yeah, also the whole soundtrack. So there was kind of a lot.
I wanted you guys to describe what was it hours before the launch. Like, were you guys really nervous? Were your family and friends nervous with you guys? Or how was that feeling?
I don't know. I didn't feel the pain anymore.
That's a memory I don't want anymore.
At that point, I had stayed cooped up in my parents' unvacated apartment for a full month. I was thankful for that peace I got, but when you're not seeing your friends in an entire month, it doesn't bode well for your brain.
Yeah, it's not a good mentality. Or it doesn't do good for yourself, yeah.
Yeah, but on the other hand, I was kind of able to get into the mentality of doing it every day. Now that things have stabilized, I don't have that same pressure anymore, which is, first of all, it's a better place to be in, but also I'm not working as fast as I used to back then for the pressure.
What about you, Antti?
Well, I was pretty much just sitting on my computer in utter disbelief that this was finally happening. And then I had a mini heart attack when I noticed on the Steam page that the game was still showing up an old name, and it took about 5 minutes to fix.
Oh my god, that must have been what the hell's going on, Gaben? What are you guys doing?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Also, I'm pretty satisfied with my role because what Antti had to do during about the last month or so, he had already pretty much did all the assets, and so all he could do was wait and pray that I don't die.
Pray that you're still alive in the room.
Yeah.
Again, I'm a really big fan of Zero Ranger. I heard it from, a YouTuber named Donkey, and I want to ask you guys a big question. Was there a big jump in sales, or was there a big publicity hit with you guys when Donkey was like, hey guys, check this game out. This game was really, overshadowed, and this game really deserves a lot of love. What was your guys' take on that?
Well, it became noticed. Before the Donkey video, Zero Ranger was it was talked about in some circles. Not a lot. It was essentially a pretty hidden game. But after that Donkey video, it kind of flew into the public consciousness. So the effect was noticeable.
That's awesome.
We were rather lucky there.
I mean, to be honest, you guys did a lot of hard work into that game. So whatever, big publicity that you guys definitely deserved it because your efforts didn't go unnoticed by him and by any means. I think through him, I was able to learn about this game, and I'm really glad that I had a chance to experience your game of Zero Ranger, because it's a really great game. And I think for me, I wasn't a big fan of shoot 'em ups, but your mechanics and the way that you guys made the decision to do certain things, I'm just like, wow, you guys really made a great, awesome game. And for me, really thought about, did I not like it because was it just a quarter eating machine, or is it because now people that know how to make a great game did make that great game? So, was there any games that inspired you to make, certain decisions in Zero Ranger? Like, wow, this so-and-so game, this needs to be in Zero Ranger. Was there any games like that for you guys?
I think that's the entire essence of Zero Ranger, that we saw cool things done in other games and just made a big amalgamation of a game out of those pieces. There are certain influences that are bigger than others, but there's a lot in there.
Yeah.
Like, one of the major ones, I would say, is Eschatos. And yeah, pretty much Eschatos and, let's say, Judgment Silver Sword in how continues and checkpoints are distributed. That's a pretty noticeable factor, I would say. And the list is pretty big.
Yeah. Did you guys thought about making it more point-based game? And then I guess my biggest question for you guys was that, did it start off by, the more enemies you killed, the more points it came? And then later on, when you added that story, did your shift of mentality was like, instead of making this game about point-based, let's make it a story-driven game that people want to keep playing over and over again?
I would say that scoring wasn't that big of a focus for us.
Okay.
In any point. We wanted to make a game that was fun to play, and that gameplay mechanics in themselves were satisfying first and foremost.
Yeah, and the scoring system that we have now, the multiplayer-based system, was our second overall scoring system attempt, because our first scoring system was terrible because we didn't really design around it, and the idea itself wasn't either fun or very fitting for the game. It was basically like 1 hit equals 1 point. So using more hitting weapons give you less score. What fun! So we made the multiplayer-based system because we didn't want to think about the scoring too much. Like, let's just make it as simple, as satisfying as possible, and it worked out.
I completely agree with you guys, because I think the way that if anybody wants to go in the way of using the full kit that they're available for Zero Ranger, if you want to get more points, then you go with, the suits rather than the plane itself. So I think that was a great mechanic, because sometimes I'm like, ooh, I really want to get that extra life, but me shooting, I'm going to have to switch out my kit in different ways. So I think that's awesome. That's the scoring system.
It worked out surprisingly well in the end, considering that it wasn't a high priority, so to speak.
Yeah, we just wanted to make it, like, exciting.
And you guys did. I mean, I had a good time playing it, and the system to where you get lives, but...
Well, thank you.
Yeah, anytime. How did the story come into fruition with Zero Ranger, which before that was called Final Boss? When did you guys start making the story?
Story was pretty much in a flux all the time during development. I would say that in the last few years it really solidified in this concrete idea what it would be.
Yeah, I think it was like 2012-ish when Antti said to me, like, we gotta get our shit together, this is going nowhere, and proposed like the initial story draft, which much more Buddhism-inspired things.
Yeah, it was still very loose, but at least there was some kind of a plan. And then,
there was a direction finally.
I really liked how in the beginning it's kind of like a mystery, like, oh, you're just a person that needs to save the world. Like, oh, okay, that's fine. And then the more you dive into, like, the bosses, the games, and you're just like, oh, wait a minute, there's actually a lot more to this rather than, hey, you're just a rogue fighter. Like, no, there's the actual hidden story, and the more that you progress through the game, the more it's uncovered, and you're like, oh, that's what that is, and that's what that meant. And I think that's a really great thing that you guys did with that. Like, you didn't barrage the player with, like, a bunch of story, but you rewarded them when completing the levels. Like, oh, this is a little bit of our history with Zero Ranger and the world that they're in. So I think that's an awesome idea that you guys came up with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. One of the biggest things that I really liked about Zero Ranger was that for the shoot 'em up genre, I what I didn't like about shoot 'em ups was that whenever I was playing, I started off as a tiny little plane, just shooting like maybe 2 little things, but the longer you would survive with that last quarter that you have or something, the more power-ups you got. But in Zero Ranger, which I absolutely love, was that when you progress through the levels, that's when you have your, your abilities. And once you get hit, you don't lose that ability. And you're like, wow, I have my full potential of fighting that boss. And that way I can try different things if, one idea is not working. I'm like, oh, maybe if I hit this combination, or maybe if I did this. So I want to ask you guys how, this is a totally different spin on the shoot 'em up genre with that. So what made you guys decide to go with that direction of play?
The direct influence was probably Megaman, and also India shoot 'em up Gust.
Really? What's your favorite Mega Man game?
Well,
Rockman 4 Minus Infinity.
Yes, that's the correct answer.
Yeah. Totally by Capcom.
Nice. Do you guys constantly look at the Steam forums at all with the Zero Ranger story that they're trying to decode?
Yeah, we're keeping an eye on that.
That's a question that I have for you guys, because I've seen some things where there's a whole encryptic alphabet that's going on, and I want to ask is that real, or is that hidden, and maybe if somebody's willing to go try to make the alphabet, that's what they have inside, or you're just nah, they're just making that up.
I wonder how much we should say. But
oh, so it's intentionally that.
It's more intentional than not. Let's say that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's enough.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I don't want to spoil anything for somebody that does dive deeper, but were you guys surprised, or were you guys they actually got that pretty on point with some things that they discussed about?
Yeah. There are certain things we were. Again, I'm wondering how much am I giving away by saying that these. There are stuff here and there where we are like, wow, they actually got that, and some stuff where we are like, finally somebody got that.
That's awesome. Because I know there's...
But we're not saying which ones.
Oh, that's a secret for the listeners to find out. Because I know there's secrets in the game, again, I don't want to spoil anything, but if you beat certain characters, or if you get ahead a little bit, and the scrolling, which, by the way, sometimes you showed some of the secrets within the Twitter, when you showed GIFs of the game. I think that's a very neat twist that you guys got, and I think that made me think, oh wow, there's a lot of love in this game that you guys showed, and it really does show when you guys, you guys really cared about Zero Ranger and the project that this all had. So I just want to say thank you guys for doing that, because it really made a big difference on, okay, I just got to kill enemies, to, oh, there's a certain little thing that they had. That's cool. It's a little Easter egg. That's nice. So thanks.
Thank you.
Awesome. So for me and Zero, we are big audio guys, so I want to kind of dive deep into what program did you guys use to make the soundtrack with?
Well, originally, most of the compositions were done on Anvil Studio. Does that say anything to you?
I've never heard of that program before.
Yeah, it's very old, and initially, you can get it as free where there are paid editions, but it's like MIDI Composer. And I think why I got into it was because on the original GameMaker 5-ish homepage, it was advertised as make your music with this program.
Yeah.
And it still looks like something straight out of the 90s. And I once tried pressing Control S to save my song, and it opened an entirely different mixer UI. So it's kind of weird, and I can't really recommend it, but it's dear to me. You can make MIDIs with it. And currently, the new songs and, the remastered songs are done with FL Studio.
Because I know you, and I'm going to butcher this. I'm going to butcher this name, but it was Questa, if I'm saying that right?
Yep.
So how'd you guys meet, and did you guys meet through, because you guys know each other for, learning how to do music, or did you guys meet online, or...
I think the initial spark was that I met the programmer of Devil Engine on the Shoot 'em Up Discord dev forum or something like that. Mm-hmm. And we got to know each other, and as time went on and I was about two very specific songs short on a sequence in Zero Ranger, I had also gotten to know Questa through the Devil Engine programmer, Sinok, as he goes by.
Mm-hmm.
And I just knew that his style would be absolutely perfect for the part in the game, because do you know the song This Is the Greenest?
Yeah.
I couldn't have achieved that style yet, so
really,
I just straight up asked him, can you do this?
like, hey, like, how do I do this? And that's all cool.
Like, I, for sure, I want to learn that style of music, but for the good of the game, I just commissioned them from outside.
I think the music itself with your style and Questa's style, like, it really blends in with that style, and I had a lot of fun listening. And there's even times where I'll even, try to look on your blog to, like, find that certain song that I really liked, and I was like, yes, it's really good. I really enjoyed it. So I have a couple last questions before I'm gonna let you guys go. Were you guys surprised that people wanted a harder mode? Because for me, I thought, like, damn, Zero Ranger's kind of hard, but if you learn certain things, like, hey, it gets a little bit easier. But they're like, no, damn it, we want you to kick our asses. And I'm like, wow, okay.
No, not at all. Like, I think in regards to shoot 'em ups overall, Zero Ranger is pretty kind of on the easy side.
That shows how how I'm experienced.
Knowing the shoot 'em up audience, they will want it harder, so we're delivering just later.
I think for Zero Ranger, to make it harder, it's kind of hard to make it artificially harder, because I know you guys put fun first before anything. So would you guys have to go to the drawing board and just say, hey, well, should we have this boss, do different things? Or, hey, should we have the enemies with a little bit more health? Or
Our current plan is to make the difficulties a bit more distinct in the way they are played. So there will be gameplay changes and stuff like different patterns, and it won't just be that there will be more bullets necessarily.
I've seen some, like, Japanese shoot 'em ups where, like, half the time I'm just hiding in that one corner and just slowly following that line in of, like, war, I'm not dead. But I think with Zero Rangers, the toast is
You're gonna have some of that.
Yeah. Is that for everybody? I think that's the biggest difference with, like, the Japanese shoot 'em up, was just hugging the corners. And for this game, it's more like being on the aggressive side and, like, this ability can cancel out that ability, and wait a minute, I can't do that because I'm stupid, I'm gonna die. So
I mean, Japan has been putting out games that do that, but, like, the style that Cave established has been way more prevalent since Dodonpachi. The bullet hell or Danmaku, or what you call it, has been pretty, like, dominant during the past years. But there are games here and there that do more, like, offense-based stuff.
Yeah, Eschatos is a good example.
Yeah, Eschatos especially, and the Ultinex trilogy. All of this can be found from Steam. I'm not paying.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Again, I don't want you guys to say too much, but do you think there's, like, a date, like maybe a year or a couple months, that you think the mode would be ready? Or right now you're just like, I don't want to discuss it?
You got me, but I think I'm going to guess both easy and hard mode will be available this year.
Really? Like late December?
I'm wishing for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
Crossed.
Yeah, and we're actually planning to deliver easy mode before hard mode. But actually, hard mode is more developed than easy mode at the moment. So,
so would you say that the game right now, that's easy mode, or is that just in your mind that's normal mode, and then when you come out with hard, there's going to be 2 extra easy?
The game as is the easy mode.
Oh my
the
god,
default,
that hurts my heart.
Like easy mode. Oh, did I say the game right now is easy mode?
Yeah.
That's specifically what I did not mean. Oops. The game as is it now is the normal mode. Sorry. My brain bad.
No, it's all good, man. Well, if you ever need somebody to test it out and to cry that I'm not really good with shoot 'em ups, you always got me. No big deal. Anytime. Is there any projects that you guys have planned outside of Zero Ranger that you guys do together, or that you guys are doing independently that you guys want to, like, share?
Yeah.
Not
Not you?
Currently, nothing that we would like to share, probably. But there are absolutely many plans, at least.
Yeah, nothing's shareable yet.
Okay.
But like, we're looking out for things.
And that's outside of Zero Ranger. So is it still going to be under System Erasure, or is that going to be for a pitched idea to a different developer? I mean, to a different publisher, my bad.
It's probably gonna be System Erasure, but we'll see.
Well, awesome. Last question. Is there anything you guys want to say before we go?
Thanks for everyone who has played the game so far. We really appreciate it.
All right.
Oh.
Did you guys appreciate the fan art that everyone's been sending to you guys? You're like, oh, that's cute, and oh, that's appreciated.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
Like,
the best.
It's a strange feeling seeing like other people lifting their pens for the thing we did. It's inspiring.
So keep sending them in. So keep sending the fan art.
Yeah. Thank you for all the fan art.
That's awesome. So you heard it, guys. If there's any fan art that you would love to send to Zero Ranger, they would love it. If there's a hard mode, make sure you guys tell me it's the current difficulty right now for Zero Ranger is hard, so I don't feel bad when I keep getting my butt kicked in the harder mode. And other than that, thank you guys so much, and have an awesome day.
Thank you too.
Thanks for having us.
Anytime. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to buy Zero Ranger, you can buy it on the Steam store and itch.io. Please take the time to follow these guys on Twitter, starting with eBroski. It's at @EBroski. And their company Twitter, @System Erasure. If you're new to this podcast, please listen to us on Podbean. Just type in Zero's Game Room, or follow us on Twitter @Zero's Game Room. If you want to catch us on YouTube, that is not a problem. It's Zeros with apostrophe S Game Room. Thank you so much for listening, and catch you in the next episode.